Welcome to Grow Her Wings, a podcast by the Milieux Project, a 501c3 based in Jacksonville, Florida, with a mission to connect girls to aviation. We are your hosts, Jenn and Carrie, and we invite you to join us as we meet new people, talk to old friends, and learn new lessons on the path to inspire more of us to grow our wings.
Yeah, so Emilee, we're excited to talk to you for multiple reasons. We've been wanting to talk to you for quite a while.
Yeah, sorry about the confusion last time. I never know what's going on my days off.
It is hard for us to coordinate things too. We totally get it. It's not a problem at all.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Not worry. So I'd asked Emilee to share a little bit about herself in an email, and I pretty much she grew up in Highland, California, just outside San Bernardino, which I'm pretty close right now with my new job change.
Where are you at?
I'm in Palmdale.
Oh yeah, that's not very far at all.
No, and it's
just right up the hill.
Which is pretty cool. And we're about to adopt a rescue from San Bernardino, or foster a rescue, which usually means we're going to fail.
And you're going to keep it. I know before I got into aviation, I worked at a animal emergency clinic. Mm-hmm. It was really hard not to keep animals that got abandoned.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. So we're going to try to. The 3 that we fostered and have failed in the house already.
Oh no. So. Does it really count as a fail? That's it.
Because they were adopted. That's the goal, even though it was meant for them to be adopted by someone else. But so we know you're originally from California. We know you're. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
That's such a vague question.
Let's start. What got you into aviation?
Where did you start?
Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit more specific there. So my dad is a pilot, my uncle is a pilot, my grandfather was a pilot. So there's a lot of pilots in the family, and I just kind of grew up around it. I never realized how not normal it is to go ask your friends, hey, do you want to go fly for breakfast? You want to go fly to lunch? Want to go fly for dinner? Like, I never realized that wasn't a normal question to ask your friends until I still think it's a normal question.
It's another mode of transportation, right? You just
right? Yeah. And so I didn't really realize it until I was in high school, and I kind of got out of flying for a little bit, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you guys. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been to that airport. They have great pancakes, and everyone looked at me, and I was all weird. No, you don't get the pancakes at a cable or something like that. Okay, cool. And so it was kind of like a while there until I realized that just wasn't normal. So I just kind of grew up around it. And in 2013, I reconnected with my uncle, and I kind of hinted that, yeah, I think I might want to be a pilot. He not only did he take that and run with it, he sprinted with it and got me all like the Jefferson private pilot books. And I'm like, well, guess I have to be a pilot now. And
awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely super helpful to have him help me out with that stuff. And I was in a community college at the time, and they had a private pilot ground school class. And a lot of people take it because it had the most credits out of all the classes that college offered. And so a lot of people just don't pass it because they don't realize it's actual work. I was one of the top people in my class to pass. I'm like, okay, I am kind of good at this. Maybe I'll try it. And then I went to ATP flight school in February of 2013. I think it's either 13 or 14. I can't remember now. And I just haven't stopped since.
So you went to ATP school, but how's that ended in helicopters?
I don't fly helicopters.
Oh.
No, our mutual friend flies helicopters.
Oh, Eric. Oh, yes. Eric. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Eric flies helicopters. I mean, I would love to fly a helicopter, but I just don't have the money. They're really expensive.
Really, it's real flying too.
Yeah.
The insurance for any school to offer it is super expensive. So
Yeah, maybe I'll maybe I'll win a scholarship and get my helicopter rating or something. I'll start applying for those.
Yeah. Do it.
awesome.
To fly is heavenly, but to hover is divine.
Yeah.
Simulator.
What was that?
I just want a helicopter simulator.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I had a friend take me up in a helicopter and we took off and he started like slowing down on the takeoff. I was like, whoa, we're gonna stall. Oh my God, push forward. And oh man, the carriers, I didn't like it. I just felt so weird. Everything was so backwards.
Aerodynamics are so different. It's true. I love it. Yeah. So, okay. So you got to your pilot's license, you flew, started flying, and then you started Lady Aviators. Like,
So Lady Aviators, myself, Jordan, it was actually kind of myself and Jordan originally. And we were kind of talking about starting this group, and she had a couple of other friends, Morgan, that also wanted to start it. And then we brought Kylie in as well. And Jessica is more of the financial background person because she knows how nonprofits and all that stuff work, and none of the rest of us do. And so us five kind of got in there. We're like, we want to create a place for just women in aviation, because most of the groups you see on Facebook or women in aviation in general, it's just for pilots. There's so much more to aviation than flying the airplane. You have the people who maintain the airplane, you have the engineers, you have the people who like build the airplanes, you have grounds, you have ramp, you have gate agents. And there's so much more to just being a pilot and in aviation. So we wanted to create a space for everyone in aviation, like ATC, just everybody. And that was our goal, that was our mindset. And I think we've executed it pretty well so far. I mean, there's been some bumps and hiccups along the way, and we're still working through things. And we're working on doing more scholarships and getting stuff out to other people. And that's kind of how it was born about a year or so ago, maybe 2 or 3 years now.
wow.
It started with a text message. Hey, we noticed like all these other groups are just pilots. Why don't we get everybody all together? So then, hey, I have a question about ATC. Instead of going to like a whole male dominated group, you can come here. Oh, hey, I have a question about being a mechanic. Oh, cool. We have a female for that. I have a question about being a helicopter pilot. Cool. We have a female for that. And so that's where we're trying to progress to, and get our website up and going, and kind of have more people use the website and be like, this is where I want to go. How do I get there? Then there's going to be somebody that you can connect with as like a mentor kind of thing.
I just know it's been amazing to watch it grow on Instagram. So
oh my gosh. Yeah.
And that's been like a rocket ship through 20,000 in less than a year, really. And what is so amazing about it is you can go to that site, and then anyone listening, it's just at Lady Aviators on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can pretty much, it's a gallery of amazing women doing amazing things in aviation all over. So you can just click on these profiles
and then go follow them or go talk to them. I've had
reach out and talk to them.
Yeah. And that's kind of why we created it. So then it's just an easy resource. Like, hey, I want to go scroll through this Lady Aviator Instagram, and oh, there's a mechanic. I want to go talk to her and see how she got into it. Oh, there's an engineer. I want to go talk to her and see how she got into it. And I know female flight attendants are kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum, but we have a lot of flight attendants who want to get into other parts of aviation, and they just got into being a flight attendant because it's slightly easier than anything else. And it's great because then you can just go and talk to them like, okay, so you're a flight attendant. How do you do that? And then you went to being a pilot. Oh, then you went to being a mechanic.
Well, not only that, but like a lot of people think that you have to become a flight attendant to get into these programs like Delta. I've just recently consulted with somebody. She was going to be a flight attendant for a couple of years so that she could get into the Delta Propel program. Like, girl, you don't have to do that.
No, yeah.
And this information's not out there. Like we all like as a whole hive have got to be better about communicating that stuff. And you're doing a great job.
Yeah. And a lot of people think being a flight attendant is easy and then going to flight training. And it's the complete opposite, because you have to have your seniority to get the good schedule, to get the days off that you need to go fly. A lot of people don't realize that. And then they get into that job and like, oh, this is not what I expected. And so had they have had like that mentor or someone to go talk to and ask like, hey, do you recommend this? It could have been a better route for them.
So speaking of mentoring, I know you do a bit of that, but I first started really following you. You post great photos. You're flying for Hawaii. I mean, that's just gorgeous. You just the area flying out in the Northwest. And
Oh yes.
I had applied at Horizon because when I was getting ready to retire from the Air Force, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And
I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
but I knew where I wanted to live. So
Yeah.
I saw something that you posted, and it was, so in a way, you were mentoring me of, hey, I just knew where I wanted to live, so this is where I went, and it's a great company. I love flying for them. So
Yeah.
I started following you when you were flying for Horizon, and then Eric saying, hey, you've really actually got to meet her. I'm like, oh, I think I kind of already know who this person is. But you've made a career change. So we can talk a little bit about how you started, how you went from getting your certificates from ATP's flight school and then into Horizon. That would be great to start. And then we're going to ask you
Okay.
how you made that.
Yeah. So like you said, I started at ATP flight school. And I mean, it was a good flight school. I met a lot of people, awesome connections there. And I was a CFI for about a year. And as most CFIs can tell you, you get burnt out pretty quick flying 8 hours a day with a million different students. So from there, I went to Traffic Watch, which is, I had no idea what Traffic Watch was. Someone on Instagram was like, hey, we need an extra Traffic Watch pilot. You want to do it? I'm like, sure, why not? Try it out. And so I did. You're flying like 2,000 feet over downtown LA, circling. You're circling traffic, and you have a reporter sitting next to you or in the back, and they're reporting it. And I was just sitting there jamming out with my Bose and listening to music. Oh, hey, take me to the 91. There's an accident. All right, here we go. And that's all we did. And it was honestly a really cool time building job. So if you're looking for time building, I highly recommend looking into Traffic Watch. From Traffic Watch, I went to the fabulous Boutique Air, flying King Airs for them. Ooh. And that's kind of where my love for turboprops came into the mix. I was flying the King Air 350. They gave me my first type rating. I signed that year contract that everyone hates, but I signed it, and I did exactly a year and 1 day, so they couldn't come after me. And that's kind of when I realized, when I was at Boutique, I didn't really want to do 135. I didn't like the whole, you're like the only person. And I mean, you have a captain at Boutique, but I liked the whole schedule thing. I liked knowing what I was going to do and where I was going to go. And I had friends already flying fancy jets and 135, and they were always on call, had no idea where they were going to be, didn't have a schedule. I'm like, I don't like that. And so I went the 121 route. And it was between Horizon, Compass, and SkyWest. Compass was on a hiring freeze at the time. I guess that's fortunate for me. So I didn't apply, so I didn't get in at Compass, and it was between SkyWest and Horizon. And I knew I didn't want to go any farther east than Colorado. I'm not an East Coast person. I wanted to be on the West. And so I knew with SkyWest, I'm like, might not. I don't want to sit reserve in Detroit. That doesn't appeal to me. But I was like, well, I'm just gonna interview. So I interviewed at both places, and the interview at Horizon was one of the most fun interviews I've ever done. The guys there were awesome. We were laughing a lot of the time. And I don't know what the interview process is like now, because that was 4 years ago. But they make you do a little flight plan. And of course, they make me flight plan in Alaska, somewhere I've never been. I'm like, all right, well, here we go. And he's like, so tell me what runway we can take off of. I'm like, well, I know this is going to be a trick question, so I'm not going to go for the obvious runway. I'm going to go for the non-obvious runway. He's like, all right, you're not wrong. And he started asking me about Zulu time. I'm like, well, can I borrow your fingers? Like, I need to count backwards. And he's like, okay. I was like, there's an app for that. Like, I don't know how to do it in my head. I just look at my app to see what time Zulu time it is. There was a poster of like half naked Justin Timberlake in the background, like on the back of his door. I'm like, so JT and I are going to take you from Fairbanks to Anchorage. It was a good time, and the vibe there was awesome. It was just an awesome vibe there. And Sky West is the biggest regional.
Like Emilee,
What was that?
Interrupt your story just for a second. Can you just explain for our audience, because we're trying to like get to girls and to like dads, and we're mostly military. So can you explain the difference between 121 and 135? Like you mentioned that like you didn't like the 135.
Oh,
yeah, with that base stuff. Yeah.
so I'm probably not the best one to describe it, but 121 is just like the commercial air carriers,
There you go.
and it's just stricter rules. They have like FAR 117 for rest rules. They have those kind of things, and it's just the air carriers like Delta, Alaska, United, and all those. And then you have your regionals. Those are the 121 certificated carriers, and then 135 could be scheduled charter, unscheduled charter. It's just the rules are less restrictive. So you have 91, 135, and 121, and as you go up, the rules and flight rules get more restrictive. Is how I best describe it, but that's probably not the best way to describe it.
So that would be the way I describe it too. You've got super scheduled. That's what I say 121 is, that is super scheduled.
Yeah.
The seniority matters. I know what I'm doing every 2 months.
Yes.
On my schedule, I know what I have. 135, some of it's scheduled, but it might just be me. I might still get called. There's more structure.
Yeah, it could be like an on-demand type 135 thing. They could call you at 2 a.m. Hey, can you take me to Vegas? Well, I guess. All right, let me wake up. Let me go get some coffee. So with 121, you know what you're flying in advance. Not usually, unless you're on the reserve side. But even with reserve, you know what time you're working, what time you're off.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fill that apart a little bit for everybody.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No,
I always just assume everybody knows.
no, right? Like we all just assume we all know, but nope.
Yeah.
It's like me and Jen throwing around military acronyms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
all right.
you were talking about how you were in the 121 and you're getting Horizon.
Oh, yeah. And so when I was trying to choose between Horizon and SkyWest is a huge company, and I'm coming from boutique, which is also a very small company. It's very family oriented. Everybody knows everybody. After the day, you go out and have dinner with your crew. And so when I was choosing, I picked Horizon, one, because of the bases. I knew I wasn't going to go any further east than, I guess, Spokane or Boise. And it's a smaller company. I feel like I could make a difference there. I'm not quite sure if I did make a difference in my 4 years, but I tried my darndest. And at SkyWest, I just felt like I would just be another number. I felt like I probably could not have made a difference, if anything, at SkyWest. And I mean, a regional is a regional. You just kind of have to go to what fits your personality, what fits your lifestyle best. And Horizon was the one that fit me the best. And I got the mighty Q400 for 2 years in Boise. And again, my love for turboprops stayed. And then I upgraded after 2 years and 1 month at Horizon, and I upgraded into the UN-75. It was Seattle based.
Just loving all this. Like this is just.
Did you live in Seattle then, or did you commute?
I commuted from Denver to both Boise and Seattle. Boise was a lot tougher to commute to, mainly because the schedule just didn't allow for same day commutes on either end of the schedule. So sometimes you'd have to commute the day before or the day after, and it just gets tiring. But I mean, I love the Boise base. Boise is my favorite base out of all the Horizon bases. When I switched to Seattle, it was a lot easier to commute because I could commute on either end on the same day at either end of my schedule. So my trip ended, I got to go straight home to Denver. I mean, I know it's a couple hours, but I still got to go home at that night. I didn't have to get a crash pad or anything like that. So that was nice.
Ooh,
I do know you made a comment about feeling like you would make more of a difference at Horizon. Just judging from if any of you follow Emilee on Instagram, the people that see see a Horizon aircraft, or now see your newer. I'll wait for you to talk about your new aircraft, and they'll tag her and say, Emilee, is this you? There are still people trying to find her around the United States. So I would say that's the lasting impression.
I try my best. I know there's some out there that probably think I'm a little over the top and exaggerated, but I mean, you gotta have fun everywhere you go. Like I said, regionals are kind of like I guess the worst 121, but if you go in with a positive attitude, you can have fun at any regional. You can't go in there thinking that this is going to be the top paid, the best schedule ever. Like you're going to have some suck. So if you go in there with a good personality and positivity, you can have a good time. I had an awesome 4 years at Horizon.
I think you bring up a really good point there.
Yeah.
Go in with a good attitude. That in, you didn't change who you were. So I think that's something also that's good to communicate to some of the younger girls that that are listening. It takes all types of people. We've all got our different personalities, our different
of course.
And go out, be you, have a positive attitude, and go after it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if I'm the right person to say this, but don't make your job your personality.
Yes.
And I mean, have a life outside of work too. I mean, there's those people who are so gung-ho about their airline and that their airline's the best in the world. I'm like, is it though? Like, I mean, I always say like Horizon's the best, but it's just another regional. I just had a lot of fun at Horizon, and there's a stigma when it comes to the Q400 and it's not jet PIC time, but it's turbine PIC time. I feel like I get more respect with my Q400 type rating than I do with another E175 type, because I feel like everybody has that.
I'll agree with you. I am a turboprop girl.
Yes, I love my turboprops.
Got one right over my shoulder. Oh, pointing the wrong way.
I just think that anybody that's like comparative in that regard, like I just get it.
Short, yeah. Love turboprops. I mean, they're pretty amazing. And I don't have a lot of time in a King Air 350, but that was also my first civilian type rating. So
yeah.
I know. She's got a lot of power.
The King Air is a beast, and it can do some wild things. Like you can get in and out of short mountainous runways, and you can see some cool things in that airplane. And I mean, I think the Pilatus is slightly cooler because it can do a little bit more than the King Air can, but both those aircraft are so much fun to fly.
Awesome.
I think there's just a bad stigma around turboprops, when like they can do so much more than a jet can.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. They're pretty versatile.
Yes.
I'm not going to take a jet to an austere landing zone out in the mountains.
No, definitely not.
It's going to ingest some FOD, and it's going to become a very expensive
display.
But I do like my jets. So if my boss is listening, I do like the jets that we fly out here at NASA. But you made and this is what I really wanted to talk to you about. You've had a great career so far, flying for Horizon. It obviously treated you well, but you had something that you've been wanting to do for a lot of time as a pilot. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you had this, you had a dream that you wanted to check out. You had something that you wanted to give a shot, and you recently made a big career change.
I definitely did make a huge career change. So growing up in Highland, if anyone knows Southern California, San Bernardino is right there. And San Bernardino is a tanker base. Also, growing up in California, we don't have snow days, we have fire days. So my house sits kind of like right on the edge of the mountains. So there's always fire. And sitting right there, being able to watch the fire and watch the tankers take off and land and then go drop retardant, that's kind of like where the dream started. My dad was a flight engineer in the Air Force, and he was working his way into getting onto FedEx or UPS. my uncle's a corporate pilot, and then my grandfather flew in the Air Force as well. And I'm like, well, I want to go do something that I want to be in aviation, but I want to do something that my family hasn't done. I'm going to go be the person that drops the red stuff, is what I always told my mom. And she's like, okay, go do it. And so it's always just been a struggle to get into the fire side of aviation. It's always about who you know, being in the right place at the right time, and you need the right experience. And I just never was able to get the right experience. I never had enough PIC time. I spent 3 years as an SIC, 1 on the King Air and then 2 in the Q. And then I finally was able to get my enough PIC time by upgrading at Horizon. But then a lot of people in fire don't want to hire 121 pilots. Well, dang it. Now what do I do? And so I just kept networking via Facebook and Instagram, just talking to people like, hey, what do you recommend? Like, should I leave? What should I do? Should I just go fly a Cessna in the mountains to prove that I could fly in the mountainous terrain? And Mary Very was extremely helpful with getting me into fire and helping me out, answering all my questions. And one day in April, I saw a Facebook post from my current chief pilot asking, hey, we need 1 more pilot for an air attack job. And so I sent him a message and I was like, hey, I know I'm a little late to the game, but can I send in my resume? 100% thinking that I still didn't have enough time, and that I'm sure thousands of other people have applied already. Because, I mean, this is back when the regionals weren't hiring yet, and there wasn't this big boom of pilot jobs yet. So I just didn't think I was going to get the job. And he calls me, and we just had a basic conversation. It wasn't like a formal interview. It wasn't like, tell me what the 135 IFR regs were. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was just kind of talking about the company and talking about aerial firefighting and what an air attack is. And at the end, he's like, so do you want the job? I was like, excuse me, what? Do I want what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, out of all the people I've talked to, you're the most normal, which I'm not. If I'm the most normal, I'm not sure what people he was talking to. And so I was like, well, can I have a couple days? He's like, yeah, let me know in like 3 days. I'm like, I have 3 days to choose to leave a captain, a cushy 121 job to go fly a turboprop. This is going to be rough. And so throughout those 3 days, he kept texting me, and I was texting back, asking questions. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I called my people who I've been using since I started the career as like mentorship, and no one is in fire aviation. And so no one could tell me, yes, you have to do it, or no, don't do it, you're making a huge mistake. I had to make all these decisions on my own. I was like, I have my 1,121 time. If I want, I'm just going to be sitting at Horizon waiting for, say, Spirit, Southwest, United, or someone to call. Why not go try it out? And so I said, F it. And I went. I was like, sorry guys, gotta go. And I left Horizon, and now I'm flying a Turbo Commander in the mountains of Idaho, in Montana, and all over the place.
Well, I mean, I just finished Cal Fire training a few weeks ago. Well, I guess a couple months ago. Like, I just went to go audit the course. It was awesome. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The commitment people make to that. It's just really
yeah.
Mission.
It was definitely a rough decision because I wasn't super senior at Horizon. I had 4 years of seniority, but I still had a good seniority to where I can work a 3-day trip and have 4 or 5 days off. 3-day trip, 4 or 5 days off. Now I'm working 12 days and only 2 days off. I'm like, oh man, this is rough. But I mean, it's really not that bad because we don't fly every day. So at the airlines, you're probably flying every day of those 3 or 4 day trips. Here, we're not flying. Sometimes we fly, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we fly 8 hours a day. Sometimes we fly 0.
Emily, like let me and Carrie just say, like, because we are from rescue, like it's just the mission, right? That's what gets you
in.
That's what gets you in the cockpit every day. Who cares, like, time or what the schedule is? Like, you're saving lives.
Yeah. Yes. I feel. I mean, I don't know if other air attack pilots feel this way, but I kind of feel like I'm less like one of the lesser life-saving people on the fire. I don't quite feel like I'm an aerial firefighter because I'm at the top of the stack and I'm just flying right-hand circles over the fire.
It's critical.
It's mainly the guy next to me who's doing all the hard work. I'm just like, oh, you want to go see that part of the fire? All right, here we go.
Yeah.
So
it's important.
yeah.
So you've been doing that since, how long have you been flying the air attack?
Since like, I think April 28th, April 27th. So
April
28th, a couple months now.
Day. It's awesome. It was a good day.
It's a great day.
Also, Saddam Hussein was born, as well as Jay Leno. So,
Oh.
what kind of character? Just
Change the subject.
My favorite thing to tell people: Saddam Hussein or Jay Leno.
No, but Emilee, when you were making those decisions, I'm glad with how open you were about that with people that were following you on the Lady Aviator site and then on your own.
Oh yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that are wondering, what if, or I want to do this. And it's really difficult to believe what you know is, okay, I will be comfortable, I will be happy, I will have a great career, I will be set, I will be secure. But then the aviation part of your brain goes, oh, but this would be so amazing. This would be so fun. I've always wanted to do this. When I was a girl, I wanted to do that. And there's a lot of people out there with that struggle. And there's probably people that look at you and go, you gave up what? And you can I'm an air attack pilot.
Yeah, a lot of people, I don't know, it's just a lot of people are afraid of the unknown, and this was 100% unknown. I had no idea if I was going to like this flying. I had no idea if I was going to like the people I was going to be around. I had no idea if I could even fly a turboprop anymore. I just spent 2 years in the jet pushing autopilot and autothrottles. Now I have neither. I'm like, oh God, I have to be a real pilot again. I have to do my own weight and balance. What is this? Like I don't have a dispatch. I don't have anybody do anything for me anymore. It's all on my own. I'm like, oh man. So it's definitely, when I first started, definitely kind of a wake up call. Like, oh, that's on me. Oh, okay. 1 second. Let me go do that real quick. My bad. And it wasn't easy. If you talk to my air attack, he'll tell you that, yeah, I sucked at holding altitude. I was not good at it anymore. I'm so used to my autopilot doing it. Now I'm better, a lot better than I was in April. So it's definitely a change, but I mean, you kind of have to, if you want to try it, go and try it. A lot of people think the airlines or the majors are the end all be all in aviation. There's so much more you can do in aviation. And yeah, the airlines can be an end goal, but go have fun in the middle. Like, you have to, you're 65 to fly at the airlines. And I know seniority means a lot, but you take off from LaGuardia, you press autopilot, then you land in LAX. You might play some Candy Crush along the way, but I don't know. Go do something. Like, it's an airplane. You're flying through the air. Go do something cool. Go have fun with it. Go see the world. So,
love
it. Advice can be pretty challenging to give. But what advice would you give somebody who's trying to make the decision to maybe make that career change, to start something new, whether it be, it doesn't necessarily have to be in aviation. I know you made an aviation career change, but anyone that's making that decision.
The best advice I could say is don't listen to everybody. Go to like your small group of friends and go talk to them. And even then, make the decision for yourself. Don't make it for anybody else. If this is something you want to do, then go do it. Even if you don't want to be a pilot, like, and you want to leave aviation for, say, being a lawyer, do it. But you have to want to do it for you. And if you're not doing it for you, then it's not going to be meaningful. You're going to hate it. I know plenty of pilots who are in aviation because their parents are, and they're the basic pilots that go take. They just do the bare minimum of the job. They don't go above and beyond to help out their crews, to help out the people around them, or anything like that. They just go to work, and like they hate work. And I mean, I love flying, even though it's my job. If on my days off, I would love to still go fly. So you have to do what you love, and you have to want to do it for you. You can't do it because your husband or your wife says to do it. You can't do it because you think your friends are going to think you're cooler for doing it. You have to do something because you want to do it.
I don't remember who it was. It's some makeup artist or like Chanel or something like that. But her quote was, "Let's do what we love and do a lot of it."
Yes, I agree.
All right, we got to wrap up. I think that's about the max for our listeners, 35 to 40 minutes.
That was a perfect place to end it. And go check out Milieux Project. Go check out Lady Aviators. Go find, if you want to learn about air attack or learn about any type of flying that you heard Emilee discuss today. She's on all the socials. You can find her.
Open book.
You can find me. I'll try my best to answer as many questions as I can, and if I can't answer them, I will find someone to get the answer for you.